Hey folks, today's Monday, July 20th, 2026. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. The city of Ocean Springs, Mississippi came out to support Nolan Wells and his family at his funeral today. We'll share what the parents had to say, as well as the $100,000 reward being offered for any information that could lead to the arrest and conviction of the individuals involved in his murder. That's money put forth by the Reverend Al Sharpton and Tyler Perry. Democratic National Committee is debating whether states should vote first in the upcoming presidential primary calendar, with nearly a dozen states vying for these important early spots. We'll talk with the chair of the South Carolina Democratic Party about why South Carolina should remain first. In Florida, a police officer has resigned after newly released body camera footage revealed a violent takedown of a misidentified black teenager. Cathy Hughes, media pioneer, receives the key to the city of Washington, D.C. She'll join us to reflect on her remarkable career and what this honor means to her. Also, more CBC members will show you what happened in the DEI hearing where they went after critics and Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib. Let's just say she's not a fan of Russell Vought. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, rolling with Roland now. He's funky, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Folks, Donald Trump, MAGA, they despise DEI, even though they talk about merit, even though they love promoting unqualified white men. Well, when they had the DEI hearing last week on Capitol Hill, let's just say CBC members were not playing around when it comes to challenging the critics. Here's Congresswoman Latifah Simon of Oakland.
Mr. Chairman, I really appreciate us having this conversation today, because what we're lifting up is, it seems like, a lot of anger and frustration with the way that things are in this moment. And I would agree, the American people all over the country, from sea to shining sea, they're angry and frustrated and afraid as they see the cost of living skyrocket under the administration. Prices are up and families across the country are struggling to make ends meet. We all know, if you go to the grocery store right now, the price of ground beef or orange juice. We're talking about DEI, but I have a couple of questions as it relates to what is actually germane to most folks in this country in this moment. Mr. Gonzalez, the Bureau of Labor Statistics has found that the price of everyday goods like food and housing and clothes has increased more than 4% over the last 12 months. Mr. Gonzalez, yes or no, is DEI the reason that Americans can't afford clothes or groceries?
No, I believe Biden was.
Okay, no, I'm asking you right now, is DEI groceries?
Yeah,
is
you know,
DEI?
I don't think that DEI has anything to do with it. I think
Thank you.
President Biden's policies
I'm going to move forward. What about housing? Is DEI the reason why 2 teachers working in any state in this country can't afford to buy a house?
Again, I would say Biden.
Okay, Biden is the reason why, but not DEI. So Biden.
I don't think DEI has anything to do with
But Biden is not the president right now, but we'll move forward. Ms. Stepman, and if I mispronounce your name, I really apologize. The American families on average paid $310 more for groceries in 2025 under the current administration than they did in 2024. Yes or no, did DEI cause that?
No, there are in fact other issues under the sun.
Thank you. Dr. Shires, under our current administration, gasoline prices have increased by more than 50% since this disastrous war. Is DEI the fault of that?
I don't believe so.
Thank you, sir. This is why, I think all of us, many folks who are watching, are struggling with the conversation today. City after city, in rule space after rule space. Folks are struggling with the realities of gas and grocery prices. Just a few days ago, a family called my office, not from my state, from a red state, requesting resources because their child's clinical trial was cut by this administration. That baby who is struggling with cancer, the clinical trial is over, the port has been taken out of her chest, she will go home to die. And we are talking about inclusion and equity and diversity. While SNAP benefits are cut, folks can't afford their mortgage, and we're having a conversation about the lexicon of diversity. But okay, did DEI make the president's approval rate fall to 39%? Is DEI the reason that Republicans can't pass any of their bills on the floor this week? Is DEI the reason that the Supreme Court upheld birthright citizenship? Did DEI kill the dinosaurs? I don't think that the American people are buying this attempt to divide and distract and scapegoat. Because what I would say, Mr. Chairman, it's feeling and sounding a lot like 1967 in this room. If you know, you know. We know what's happening. We know what this conversation is really about. And none of us have any real answers about what we're doing today outside of having a conversation that is set to break the commitment to include all Americans, to uplift the fact that we look different. We have different languages. We may pray differently, but the assault on that beauty, that's what we're litigating. Okay, but it's disgusting. And you want to blame DEI, you want to blame foreigners, you want to blame people of color for the price of gas, for the inaffordability in this country, and the fact that literally right down the street, folks who are working 2 and 3 jobs can afford to take their baby to daycare. And I'll yield back. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, for this conversation today.
Well, Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley of Massachusetts, let's just say she also didn't hold back.
Is irrational. Today's hearing is irrational, it is misguided, and it is consistent with the Republicans' war on diversity, equity, and on inclusion. Now, Republicans control the White House. They've rigged the Supreme Court. They have majorities in both chambers of Congress. And they are using the full weight of that power, the full force of that, and your taxpayer dollars, might I add, of this federal government in this moment to enact precise harm on working families. There are no oversight hearings on high unemployment and the rising costs, and there are no hearings on protecting voting rights or affordable health care coverage. Instead, Republicans have decided to focus on attacking everyday people who are just trying to make ends meet. Their agenda is anti-Black, it is anti-immigrant, it is anti-LGBTQ, it is anti-worker, and again, since we're talking about DEIA and the dismantling of it, it is also anti-veteran, it is anti-rural, it is anti-disabled, and it most certainly is anti-woman. Diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives were created to promote fairness because there are real biases in America that disadvantage specific groups of people. That is a fact backed by mountains of data. While there has been progress, the work is unfinished. Actually, the work is piling up due to Republicans emboldening greater discrimination while simultaneously dismantling civil rights protections. For example, women face systemic gender discrimination. I know you can't tell by looking at the Republican Party, but women make up 50% of this country, and we deserve equal rights. So I'm going to start with a simple question, and Ms. Felcher-Stepman, I'm going to begin with you because actually the fact that your women's forum even exists, some might even consider that to be a DEI initiative. But let me just ask you a question. Do you believe America should have gender equality, meaning that women and men should have equal rights under the Constitution and our laws? Yes or no?
I believe that women and men
Yes or no?
do have
Yes
equal rights
or
under
no?
the Constitution.
Yes or no? One more time to keep it clean here. Do you believe America should have gender equality, meaning that women and men should have equal rights under the Constitution and our laws? Yes or no?
I believe they should have equal rights, yes.
Okay. And Dr. Shire, yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez, yes or no? All right. Well, unfortunately, the Constitution is silent on this topic. And that is why I've introduced legislation to add the Equal Rights Amendment as the 28th Amendment, enshrining it as the law of this land. Now, look, y'all, every Democrat in the House has signed on to my bill, but I'm still waiting on my Republican colleagues to join. So until we are able to codify gender equality in the Constitution, diversity, equity, and inclusion policies have supported women in every aspect of their lives. For example, women have served in the military for more than 200 years, yet Republicans in your anti-diversity campaign have denied multiple women promotions just because they are women, not to mention those that have just been fired. Women get paid less money for doing the same work as men, but since Republicans are anti-equity, the EEOC, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, has weakened enforcement of pay discrimination laws, maintaining and widening our gender wage gap by the day. Y'all have any daughters? Not to mention black women making 65 cents on the dollar to white men. And finally, women are underrepresented in medical trials to find cures for diseases that affect us. But because Republicans are attacking inclusion, they cut funding for women's health research projects. So let me sum it up. Anti-DEI is anti-woman. And those harms are compounded by attacks on voting rights like the so-called Save America Act that Republicans are fixated on passing, which could disenfranchise nearly 70 million women simply because their last names on their ID no longer match their birth certificates after being married, which pro-family people seem to care about. Not to mention the attacks on bodily autonomy. As women, our bodies are treated as a debate, and Republicans are passing laws that restrict what we do and when we do it, something men have never had to struggle with. So when it comes to Republicans on this committee who are all men, enacting more harm on women through anti-DI hearings like this one, we need to call it out and fight back. Mr. Chair, I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record this June 2026 article from Afrotech titled Civil Rights Organizations and Nonprofits Sign Letter Demanding Transparency and Response from the Trump Administration Regarding DEIA Ban.
Without objection.
So y'all, since Donald Trump is so loud and proud about these efforts to dismantle and defund DEIA, why do you think the Trump administration is hiding all the data on their firings? Okay, I guess that's my time. All right then, thank you.
Now, that was a DEI hearing. Now, Rashida Tlaib of Michigan, Congresswoman Tlaib of Michigan, when Russell Vought testified, she tore into him, and I must say, this was quite lovely.
Director Vought, is it true or false that your agency has dismissed and terminated more than 40 lawsuits and settlements against predatory companies?
These were not predatory companies.
Yeah. Are you friends with Capital One?
With Capital One, no, I don't know.
Walmart?
Nope.
Zelle?
Nope.
You reversed even settlements against Toyota, Navy Federal, Bank of America.
Would you like to know why?
Oh, sure. Because it looks like the past directors, you're getting so defensive. You're not friends with them. I wanted to make sure it wasn't personal. You're not friends with them, right? It's a direct question. Who do you work for, Director?
President of the United States.
No. You work for the people of the United States. You do not work for the president. You have legislation and laws that we pass as elected body members here. You do not work for the president. Wrong. You take an oath to the people of this country, and we pass laws that you are supposed to enforce. You do not work for the president. So that's probably why
I think the founding fathers would have a different view, Congresswoman.
Oh, I am so glad this is on record. You should be fired because you work for the people, not the president. None of us work for the president.
The president won an election.
I understand. I'm not.
Put him in office.
I actually don't contest that like you all do. Now, is it true these cases and others dropped lawsuits could have returned hundreds of millions of dollars to consumers?
They could have also set terrible regulatory initiative and enforcement decisions.
I'd like to enter into the record, Director Vought. A memo, Chairman, from the Protect Borrowers, the Consumer Federation of America, and Americans for Financial Reform Education Fund, because I want the American people to see all the lawsuits you filed.
Without objection,
You didn't file. You actually decided not to pursue those lawsuits. And Mr. Chair, it's important for the American people to know this. Is it true or false, before 2005, CFPB only dropped one enforcement action and never terminated a settlement?
I actually don't know. What's the answer?
You don't know because you think that you work for the president. You actually don't see what the agency was created for. Why do you think the agency was created? Because of the president? Because Congress created the agency because of the awful financial distress that had happened on our American people. You can blink your eyes all you want. Last year, Americans lost roughly $16 billion to fraud. 25% increase from 2024 on your watch. The highest level on record on your watch. In fact, CFPB has received more consumer complaints in 14 months than in the first 14 years of its existence. Your watch. Dr. Vogt, do you think it's just a coincidence that the consumer complaints have reached an all-time high at the same time that your agency has pulled back enforcement and dropped cases, cut staff, and revoked guidance?
There's a market reason for what is going on that we.
Because you're friends with Bank of America, Walmart, Zelle? Are you friends with them? Do you work for them? I'm saying this because you dropped all these lawsuits. These lawsuits didn't come out of thin air. It's because they did wrong.
They were novel legal theories that were not based on
novelty. So all those complaints from our residents are novelty? They're not real?
No, that's the consumer portal of which we look at very closely and have taken steps to make sure we know what's going on.
I know you're not going to take responsibilities because look, the loan sharks, Wall Street, mega banks, and I'm telling you, it is killing all of our residents because you've basically sent a note, like a signal out there. Go ahead. You're undermining. They're like, you signal to scammers and fraudsters out there, the fraudsters. Open season for our residents. Go for it. Go ahead and violate their consumer protections that we, the Congress, passed, not the president, the Congress passed and created this agency. In May, CFPB deleted more than 2,000 pages from its website. These include consumer advisories, blog posts. You didn't do it?
Nope.
You didn't do it? Nope.
We overhauled our website.
Okay, Russell. How is CFPB adhering to congressional mandated consumer protection mission by removing consumer education and other materials from its website?
We did not remove materials from the website. We put it in an archive section.
So you didn't remove the Know Your
website.
Right. You archived the Know Your Rights for veterans? You archived it?
We archived the
You
policies
archived
of
the Know Your Rights, Russell, for veterans. You guys can get all upset all you want. He doesn't work for the president. He doesn't work for Zelle or Walmart. He works for the people of the United States. Romance fraud is up there. You can laugh all you want, but that targets our seniors. Shame on you. Really, on your watch, complaints are up. You literally took money away from pockets of our residents. You can blink all you want. Your legacy will be the fact that people got hurt under your watch because you think you work for the president and not the people.
And the chair recognizes the chair of our...
Folks, my panel, Dr. Ome Congo, being a senior professor of lecture, School of International Service of American University, author of Lies About Black People, How to Combat Racism, joining us from D.C. Thelma Anderson will be joining us from the Senate Representative James Tellerico Black Town Hall in Dallas. She, of course, created the Public Opinion Court. Also joining us is State Representative Jelanda Jones of Texas, joining us out of Houston. Representative Jones, I'm going to start with you because I have people who hit me and they say, these hearings are a waste of time. They're performative. They serve no purpose. But I don't think people understand that when you are an elected official, you have few opportunities to actually question administration officials, whether it's the federal government, whether it's the state government. A lot of times these right-wing governments won't even answer letters that come from folks like you or members of Congress. And so a lot of times this is really the only opportunity you get to question the executive branch to make sure they are adhering and answering to the legislative branch.
Oh, absolutely, Roland. I agree with you. And people think it's performative, but it's actually not. It's laying a record in the event there's a lawsuit. The guy said he wasn't friends with the people from Bank of America or wherever he said. You literally can investigate that. And then he could, if they find that there's evidence that he went to lunch with him, they bought him something, he knows him, then you can sue people. But At the end of the day, you've got to pass things through Congress, then you have to pass things through the Senate, and then the president signs off on it. Nobody pays attention to the votes on the floor. Nobody pays attention to that. But the only platform that we as elected officials have is committee hearings. That's the truth. And so you need to get people to lie on TV in front of people under oath so that if the time comes where you can get them, then you have the opportunity to get them. But trust and believe, the Republicans want all this stuff done under cover of night, during, on the floor of whatever part, whether it's the Congress or the Senate, and they know people aren't going to pay attention to it. And so you can also, it's like when you have a trial, you look at witnesses, you can look at their demeanor, you can look if they're being smart asses when they're talking, you can look at how they're answering. And that way it actually allows the people to make judgment as well by what they see in these hearings. So they need to continue to have hearings. They need to continue to have these oversight hearings so that the American public can see what elected officials have to deal with, the BS that we have to deal with all day, every day. Because all you have to do was listen to that dude, Voight, and see that he answered no questions, that he always tried to interject Trump talking points, that he's an idiot and he thinks he works for President Trump, and people can make their own decisions. But the one thing that we know from listening to these line of questioning from all these Congressional Black Caucus members is that they are literally anti-Black. And sometimes people don't want to believe us. They don't. So these hearings allow people to see what's really going on so they can't pee on us and tell us it's raining.
Congo.
It's very frustrating, to be quite honest. When you play, the first two clips, one of the things that's really frustrating me is the way that it's still relying, first of all, praise and props to the CBC members for what they did. But it seems, Roland, that it's still falling on Black people to be calling out all of the challenges related to DEI in this country. And as Representative Presley clearly laid out, and the first speaker as well, I forget the sister's name, which one it was, they're talking about the fact that DEI does not just affect Black people. It affects people with disabilities. It affects women. It affects, LGBTQ community. It affects everybody. So the question becomes, when are other groups going to start speaking up along with us? Where are the Asian groups? Where are the Latino groups? Where are the, indigenous community? Where are white women, right? People who are also being affected by, the first person in that hearing said everything was Joe Biden's fault. All of these groups are being affected. And the fact that we're still carrying the weight as it relates to speaking about the consequences of this DEI policies or anti-DEI policies, it's important that we're doing it. Props to them, but we can't get the progress that we need if it's just going to be us. And as it relates to Vault, their mindset is very simple. We do work for the president. These are from him to Kavanaugh to others, to Stephen Miller. They believe in unitary executive power, that all power lies with the president. And until more of us start speaking up and calling out these issues, as Representative Tlaib did in her, what she did and Elizabeth Warren did earlier in another hearing, hopefully that's when people are going to start to wake up. I mean, consumer protections. I mean, I got a check from a credit thing I used last year, and I wasn't even expecting it. These people were fighting on our behalf, and all of us are getting screwed. It's not just Black people, and more people need to step up and call this out so they can make them take full responsibility for it. It can't just be us.
Indeed, indeed. And I've been saying that for a very long time. All right, folks, going to a break. We come back. Lots to talk about, including what took place at the funeral of Nolan Wells today in Mississippi. Also, we'll hear from Radio 1 founder Cathy Hughes about getting the key to the city in Washington, D.C., and what does the future hold for the media company she founded. Lots more to break down, plus our update on the Harriet Tubman Museum in Cambridge, Maryland. Remember, they were on last week. The program director said they wanted to raise $25,000. I was like, no, you need to raise it to $50,000. We raised $16,000 in 24 hours. I'm going to give y'all a new update. And again, so remember, we wanted to close it out by 8 p.m. today. So go to, we'll show you the place where to give if you have not contributed yet, so we can make sure that they are protected with a security system as well as a new door and to get their murals fixed. That's next. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. All right, folks, let me tell you about Chapter. Now, if you're on Medicare or about to be, the system is not set up to work for you. Too much fine print, too many plans, and too many people making money off of your confusion. And look, we're used to this. We're no strangers to systems that don't have our best interests at heart. But we don't have to accept it when it comes to Medicare. That's why I'm telling you about Chapter. Their advisors are independent and honest. In fact, they're the only Medicare advisors that compare every plan nationwide. And they're focused on one thing: what works for you. If there's a better plan out there, they'll find it. If you're already in the right one, they'll tell you that too. There are no games. Just last year, people who switched with Chapter saved an average of $1,100. It's 20 minutes and a real person. It's completely free. My parents actually have already called. My mom sent me a text. Folks, give Chapter a call at 724-264-8281, 724-264-8281, and connect with someone you can trust. Folks, these are the kind of services that we need for our audience here at Roland Martin Unfiltered and the Black Star Network. So call Chapter right now, 724-264-8281.
This is Reggie Rock Byford. You're watching
Roland Martin Unfiltered, Uncut, Unplugged, and Undamn Believable. You hear me?
All right, folks, media pioneer Cathy Hughes has been awarded the key to the city of Washington, D.C. by Mayor Muriel Bowser. It took place last week, recognizing her decades of contributions to broadcasting, journalism, entrepreneurship, and the community. Hughes, of course, founder and chairwoman of Urban One, formerly Radio One, began her media career after moving from Omaha to Washington, D.C. Got her start in radio and is widely credited with helping create the iconic Quiet Storm format, which remains a staple on R&B stations across the country. She also taught at Howard University School of Communications, which now is named after her. She later purchased Washington radio station WOL, laying the foundation for what will become Urban One, the nation's largest black-owned multimedia company. She joins us right now. Cathy, what's happening?
Hey, Roland. How are you?
Doing great. So I saw a bunch of the clips and posts last week regarding with the key to the city, and you've gotten a ton of different accolades, but obviously it's always a lot different in the place where you've been for quite some time, and of course where WOL was grounded.
Absolutely. I mean, such an honor not to have been born in this city, but then particularly after this many decades of being involved in the city, to be recognized for it. And the mayor sent it.
Oops, looks like we lost Cathy's signal, so we're going to get her back. So not quite sure what happened there. But let me do this. Y'all, we actually, when I was actually at TV One, I did a one-on-one with her. So here's just, y'all got that? Y'all have it? Go ahead and roll some of that. All right, y'all got just, okay, y'all roll it. So this was the, well, we don't have the audio of this? Why don't we have the audio? I keep telling y'all, don't pull video out the audio. That makes no sense. All right, so, as a matter of fact, I gotta be sure to, I don't know if TV One sent me that, so I need to have that. So, but that was part of the one-on-one conversation we had, and hope, again, we're gonna try to get her audio straight. But one of the things that we definitely gonna talk about is also where we sit now when it comes to black-owned media. When you think about radio, so many things happened. The Telecommunications Act of 1996. President Bill Clinton often said that that was one of the worst decisions he made in signing that particular bill. We are seeing what's happening with black newspapers as well. Of course, black magazines being decimated. And I've been making this point to people for years, that what we have to understand is we're going to rue the day when we do not have black-owned media. We got Cathy back, and so Cathy, you there?
Yes.
All right, we're checking her audio. All right, let's go right to her. All right, we're good. All right, there we go. All right, you were making a point about being recognized in a city you did not grow up in.
Right, exactly. And then all of a sudden, somebody took us off the air. It's such an honor. The mayor only did 6 keys during her 3-term administration. And so for me to be the only woman in the 6th key just adds a whole lot more to the incredible recognition. And I was so nervous. I'm looking at the clip that you're showing, and I'm fidgeting and moving around. For one thing, this is, Magic Wednesday, and I do it every Wednesday over in Ward 8 during the summertime, and we go anywhere from low-end 800 people to high-end about 3,000 with lines wrapped around. And so the noise was almost deafening. And I was like, how do we get them to, listen? But when you have that many people, it's hard to get them to quiet down and listen, particularly when you're outside.
Well, absolutely. And of course, going from WOL and then, of course, expanding beyond that to radio stations, more stations in D.C., also going across the country. But before I talk about that, talk about how important it was when in this city, in Washington, D.C., when black folks were targeting the Washington Post and the role that radio played in driving the information, because you use the phrase information is power, and unfortunately what I believe is we've got a bunch of nonsense that's being spewed on airwaves today, and not enough information, and that was really a huge thing that took place in this city.
The Take It Back campaign, because during that time there was actually legislation that prohibited boycotting. Corporations had gotten to the right members of Congress, and they had passed legislation that if you called for a boycott, you could be sued, you could be prosecuted. So we bought the newspaper every Sunday, but then we brought it back and served it to the front steps, to the front porch of the Washington Post magazine. The issue was a multi-million-dollar revitalization of their magazine, and they had leaked information that the cover was going to be a black man. And so at that time, Cliff Alexander was, a political candidate for mayor. John Thompson had the #1 college basketball team in the country. There was just a long list of African-American men in this city that we just were guessing. And what we realized in the midst of all this is we were doing all this free publicity for the Washington Post magazine. The cover comes out, and it's a drug dealer from New York City who does a lot of business in the nation's capital, and there's a full-page photo of his girlfriend picking and cutting his toenails. I cannot still to this day believe that a publication as intellectually sophisticated as the Washington Post thought that that was going to fly. And it was very interesting because the Take It Back campaign was not just a black campaign. There were a lot of other members of the Washington, D.C. reading community that were just appalled, insulted. So it started off, the first issue had 142 pages of advertising. It was almost a small book by the last week, which was 3 weeks before Christmas, when they literally said, okay, we will have to settle this. They were down to 8 pages right before Christmas from 142.
In this business, we call that a big drop. You use the word there that I think is critically important when we talk about black-owned media. You said community, and I just fundamentally believe that when we're talking about whether it's radio, television, newspaper, digital, magazine, that you have to be in service to the community. That's your readers, that's your listeners, that's your viewers, and there's a level of love and affection for black people that is a part of that. And I think too often there are individuals, there are corporate leaders where it's more about profit as opposed to community. And Tom Joyner and I were having this conversation. I was in Miami a couple of weeks ago. And one of the things that we were talking about is that when you talk about, you can still make money by embracing and loving community, but if it's all about profit, then you're leaving out the most important part, that is community. And then when you get your butt in trouble and you establish no relationship with community, there's nobody there for you when you're in trouble.
Well, I mean, you covered a lot of ground there, because corporations are not committed to community activism, all right? They are committed to profit. Most of the big corporations are publicly held corporations, and all they're interested is in shareholder enhancement. It's up to those of us in Black media to embrace the community and make certain that they are represented, their opinions are heard, that the correct view of who we are and what we really want is shown. But I don't see that as ever even being discussed in a corporate board meeting at one of the big, companies in America that make a lot of money off our community. But the key is you have to have a relationship with the community so that they understand that you really are looking out for their best interests. We often have great starts. One of the things that was so effective about the Washington Post protest, the Take It Back campaign, was that we didn't stop. The football season started and people told us, oh, you're going to lose a lot of people. And we did, because they were at home watching D.C. is a big football city, as you know, big football town. They were home watching the game. But it didn't matter how many of us that were there. We came consistently. There were storms. We just stood out there in the storm. We got wet. We got cold. It did not matter. We were going to see it through until they hollered, "Uncle," until they said. And it's interesting because Ben Bradley said that rather than retract the cover or apologize for that insulting cover, that he would rather run naked down Pennsylvania Avenue than to submit to the pressure that we were applying. Well, Ben didn't quite run down the street naked, but he did run over to 4th and 8th Street Northeast and apologize on the airways with his boss and publisher, Donald Graham. And because of that, there were jobs that were opened up. There were opportunities. The consumers in Washington, D.C., most people, as you know, Roland, don't realize the Washington Post is a local newspaper. You can't buy the Washington Post in New York City on the newsstand or in Miami, Florida. As big as its reputation is, it is still a local publication. And the local residents, who were the bread and butter of that newspaper, of that media outlet, made it clear that we were not going to give up until they changed their ways. And that's what unfortunately does not occur in present day times. And I think it's because you have a different, you have a scarcity of leadership. You have a different set of priorities that are preached in churches. During those days, ministers, Reverend Leon Sullivan in Philadelphia used to start off his sermons by saying, "I hope you remembered your tennis shoes, because as soon as this service is over, we are marching down to protest what's going on at Tasty Cakes." And he did that every Sunday from the pulpit. We don't have that anymore. We don't have the activism. Our ministers are focused on other things. And I thought we had a pretty good start with Target, but then all of a sudden there were deals made and concessions made. And now at the Essence Festival on the 4th of July weekend, I'm told that Target was the main sponsor, that they were right up front.
Yeah, well, Target was also a sponsor last year. They had a pre-existing.
But a different location last year.
Yeah, they had a pre-existing deal with Essence that predated the beginning of that boycott. But you just mentioned two things, and as you were talking, and I have been. This is literally the basis of a book that I'm editing that's actually due tomorrow. This is from
that you wrote.
Oh yeah, it drops in February. All right. And so that was it. And this is from Dr. King's book, Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community, which was his last book, written in 1967. That if you read it today, you swore he wrote it last year. Go to my iPad, Henry. He wrote, And as you can see, I probably used 3 or 4 highlighters in this book. He said there are already structured forces in the Negro community that can serve as the basis for building a powerful united front. The Negro Church, the Negro Press, the Negro fraternities and sororities, and Negro professional associations. We must admit that these forces have never given their full resources to the cause of Negro liberation. There are still too many Negro churches that are so absorbed in a future good over yonder that they condition their members to adjust to the present evils over here. Too many Negro newspapers have veered away from their traditional role as protest organs agitating for social change and have turned to the sensational and the conservative in place of the substantive and the militant. Too many Negro social and professional groups have degenerated into snobbishness and a preoccupation with frivolities and trivial activity, but the failures of the past must not be an excuse for the inaction of the present and the future. These groups must be mobilized and motivated. I really, what jumps out, obviously for obvious reasons, that media piece jumps out, veered away from their traditional role as protest organs agitating for social change, and have turned to the sensational and the conservative in place of the substantive and the militant.
Well, Dr. King died before he realized that there'd be a Roland Martin, all right, who would see to it that he would find a different way to present the truth and to organize the community. And kudos to you for that, because you're not vulnerable. Those of us in traditional terrestrial radio, as they call it, have to be licensed by the Federal Communications Commission.
Yep.
And all that's being controlled by a group of individuals who want us to shut up and go away. You know, one of the tragedies is you were talking earlier about consumer protection. There is no consumer protection. All of our protections are just conversations, and it's important. I agree with the Congresswoman as well as the young man when they said that's the only time we really get to hear the truth. Is when, okay, it's not just a show, and yes, it gets emotional, because the reality is that these corporations and these agencies are in bed together. And so the agencies, they'll ignore everybody except the president, all right? Because they think they do work for the president.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter that you're a U.S. senator. It doesn't matter that you're a member of Congress. You can't find out what you need to find out for your constituents because they just don't respond. And there's no penalty. There's no retribution for them not responding. And so, as you know, I salute you for what you've done. I love, you know, there was a saying my mother used to love, that necessity is the mother of invention. You know, when one pathway is blocked, we're very creative, we're very inventive people, and we come up with ways where we can continue getting the message out and not have to be silenced, not have to be muted because of threat of being eliminated. And that's the key. But my concern at this juncture is the lack of that leadership. And I don't know, you know, whether or not you're going to cover it in your book, and I can't wait for it to come out.
It's being covered, trust me.
Yeah, because
it's being covered.
Dr. King had so much opposition, and particularly from the Black church. Okay, had it not been for young people, had it not been for high schoolers and college kids, and some even junior high school kids took themselves out of school and went to jail in order for the civil rights movement to be turned around. And, you know, right now, where is, you know, Dr. King's substitute? Where's the bench for Black leadership? Who are they? And I'll just have to be honest with you. I am still raising sand about Al Green being put out of the State of the Union after I watched Marjorie Taylor Greene heckle Barack Obama every time, 8 times, and never once was she removed from the chamber. Yet this brother speaks up, and the rest of the Black caucus stayed in there. I just can't get past that, Roland. I'm really stuck on that they did not en masse support that brother and march out with him when he was put out. And so, at one time we could count on our elected officials to be our leadership. But, what their motivation was, I don't know if they went into a trance, if they were afraid, or what the hell happened in the chamber that evening. But they stayed and they watched that brother being physically escorted out of something where a white woman for 8 years before had been allowed to do. And that's not leadership.
You talk about that point there about leadership, you also, when you mentioned the FCC, and this is the piece that I try to spend time educating people who really do not understand. The reality is the radio stations that Urban One owns, the FCC controls those licenses. Those are federal licenses, and you have to go up for them to be renewed. What we are seeing now, really, I won't say for the first time, Nixon made threats,
Yes.
but nothing like what we see right now.
Absolutely.
And so I've said this to numerous people, is in the book as well, that like you've never had a situation at this level where an occupant of the Oval Office, I don't use the word president regarding him, regarding the twice impeached criminally convicted commander-in-chief, where retribution is the top of the agenda. And so if you are Disney and you own local television stations, if you are NBC, you own stations, you own radio stations, you really do have to be mindful of everything because you're facing that level of retribution. On the flip side, when we talk about black newspapers, the papers are not governed by the federal government. Magazines are not governed by the federal government. But the problem is you have to survive with advertising. And so then when you have the corporations that, okay, they will threaten them, which is why the FCC literally said to AT&T, to Verizon, to Paramount, oh, if you don't get rid of your DEI programs, then we're not going to approve your mergers. And so we've seen black nonprofits. We have lost a massive amount of financial support because these corporations are deathly afraid to even give sponsorship dollars if it's black. So I don't think people really understand. I call this thing a war, a GOP war on black America, and I keep saying they want to defund black America. This thing is real, and it reaches when you have government and corporations together at the same time. Listen, it's very difficult for black media, for nonprofits and others to survive in this era with the level of attacks on our people.
Absolutely. And that's real. When you don't really own your license. So you own the equipment in your radio station, but you really don't own the radio station. The federal government is in charge of who owns the radio stations. They decide whether or not they're going to renew your license. They decide whether or not they're going to approve your mergers. But one of the things that I think that has happened is so many of these major corporations who felt the pressure of the removal of the black dollar used the occasion of what the president was doing, to cut back on the little bit of funding that they were doing. A classic example was the money that our community raised for Vice President Kamala Harris, that white advertising agencies profited from not spending it with us. All right. Okay.
Oh, listen. I call the names out. The fake meetings we had, and was like jumping through hoops. And oh no, do this, change this, do this, and not a single dollar ever coming our way. And it was just nothing but traveling to New York for more meetings. And I had somebody tell me, Roland, are you going to Cannes? I'm like, why in the hell am I going to fly to the south of France to meet with some agencies that won't meet with me in New York?
Thank you.
This is going to cost me more money.
Yeah, absolutely. And the beauty of what you do seriously is you keep putting the truth out there. all right, and you're unapologetic about it, but also you're unthreatened. Okay, you have figured how to continue that which you are committed to doing, which is informing the community of the realities of being Black in America today, because we are really very confused. We're very confused over the fact that he who controls the dollar controls everything.
Yep.
Okay. And we don't seem to still understand that that's us. That is us. I mean, I'm sure you saw the report that came out about these high-end designer handbags, clothes, jewelry, the whole 9 yards. The majority of their products are sold to people of color.
Yeah.
That cannot afford it. That's the really fascinating aspect of the research that came out. These were not celebrities. These were not athletes. These were common, everyday working people who did not realize that they were the profit margin for these luxury items.
And our self-hate is so real because I saw this on social media, and yes, I had to snap on some people online. So this is not great quality video here, but go. Let's see here. Come on, where's the video? If y'all, so over the weekend at the AKA convention, they announced that it was this big old thing. They announced that the undergrads were getting these Telfar bags, and Telfar, of course, Black-owned luxury designer company. What was unbelievable to me, and I'm looking for it right now because they were like, the sisters were screaming and everything. I go under the chat, Cathy, go under the chat, and there were Black folks who were saying, I can't believe they're screaming like that. It's not like it's a Chanel. It's not like it's a Birkin. And again, I went off. I said, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Y'all gonna scream at Chanel, but you don't want to see a Black luxury company in the same vein. That's Black self-hate.
Yeah, well, 400 years of working on it, okay, they pretty much have perfected it. They pretty much have perfected the hatred of each other, of ourselves. But the worst part is the misunderstanding. And that's the reason. I remember when they first started eliminating books from libraries and eliminating, Virginia, Youngkin, as soon as he became governor, eliminated critical race theory in schools. We didn't have in Virginia critical race theory in school. So while on his very first day of his administration was he eliminating it, all the signs have been there, okay, that we, our history, our future, we're in jeopardy. All right, we are physically in jeopardy. You know, Dennis Kimbrough's been saying it for decades, and people said he was crazy. Okay? They talked about him like they talked about Dick Gregory. Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, and that's never going to happen. They are slowly but surely dismantling every ounce of progress that we have made since coming out of slavery.
Oh, absolutely. Pan, I'll get rid of we'll go to y'all for questions. You mentioned earlier when we were talking about Dr. King, and John Lewis said, Congressman John Lewis said that he felt that the civil rights movement really ended with the passage of the Voting Rights Act in 1965. But the reality is that the Fair Housing Act was signed into law 9 days after Dr. King was assassinated. And it was actually his assassination that led to that. It was being filibustered by Republicans and Democrats in the House. Senator Edward Brooke broke it in the Senate. And here we are, where we're trying to see rollbacks of housing protections. That day, April 4th, is a day that lives in infamy. And I've interviewed people all across the country who talked about that day. Where were you that day? What do you remember, and how impactful was that April 4th, 1968 on you?
It still can bring tears to my eyes when I really think about the feeling, because you realized that he was one and only. That's been one of the ways that we have been contained for all of these centuries, actually, is because it's a one and only theory that they practice. And I realized that because young people had heard his message and had responded, other leaders were emerging. And so it's kind of like the story of, they cut off the head and the rest of the body will die. Because I knew. It was a sick feeling that just went through me that, oh my goodness, all this progress that we've been making, we're finally getting on the right page. Ministers who had been, like bad-mouthing him were coming around, apologizing even, and getting on board. The word was spreading of what we could do. We were starting to be recognized, and then all of a sudden it was aborted. Just gone. And I remember not believing it at first. I was one of those, no, that can't be true, under no circumstances. And then I guess the way I handled my grief was that I just assumed that there would be enough anger, there'd be enough force as a result of the assassination of Dr. King, that there'd be a whole new population of leadership emerging. And we started going backwards, and we have continued going backwards. And ministers traded in the, gospel of liberation for a gospel of success and visibility and profitability. The whole message has changed. I remember when the brother in Chicago, whose name's escaping me now, he was Barack's minister, was punished.
Reverend Jeremiah Wright.
Thank you. Jeremiah Wright was punished. Jeremiah was one of those voices during this time. And so this is not the first time that we have been punished and have been victims of retaliation. That's one of the things I try to say to people sometimes when, I'm out speaking and they get despondent and upset and, sad. What in the world are we going to do? Quincy Jones used to love to say that there was nothing new under the sun, particularly as it relates to music, but it's really true. We've been through this type of oppression before. It's more public now because of technology. There's more information out there, but this has not been the first time that there's been an attempt to silence us. And I just am hopeful that individuals such as yourself, Don Lemon, others, Joy, Reed, others have found their voice in a protective avenue, and I'm just prayerful that the powers to be don't figure out how to shut that avenue. But I think as creative as we are as people, that we will find a way. We will not only survive, we will thrive, and we will continue to move forward, because we don't have any other chance, quite frankly. This is our country. We built this economy. We built this country, and we still do not understand the power that we possess as a unified community.
Indeed, indeed. Questions, first up, Omekongo. What's your question for Cathy Hughes?
Ms. Hughes, it's truly an honor to talk to you through all of your perseverance. It's just truly an honor. Thank you for your commitment to our community.
Thank you.
The question that I have for you, you talked about the failure of some of our leaders, some of our politicians, some of our ministers. Given your expertise, some of us feel like our Black entertainers are also letting us down in this moment. I want to know if you feel the same, and if so, why?
Amen.
Do you think they're doing that?
I can remember when they would forget to thank the Academy for the award. They'd be so busy preaching. Okay, they started giving liberation speech. The minute they got on the stage, okay, they were cursing out the government. They were calling people by name. Now they thank God, their mama, which is good. Okay, it's good to thank God. It's okay, it's great to thank God, good to thank your mama. But can you get around to talking about the issues that are confronting your people? There was a time you could not watch an award show without there being a speech Okay, and then they would start competing. Okay, yeah, well, that sounded good, but I'm gonna sound better when I get up there to get my Grammy. Okay, all right. Okay, I'm thinking while you up there protesting, whatever, I'm gonna come up behind you, and I'm gonna. They were outdoing each other. They were putting their money where their mouths were. They were investing in various projects because everybody doesn't speak out. There's some, celebrities who just don't have that type of personality. Okay, they, go into character, and that's their gift. But all of that has basically vanished. And I mean, I know that this is not going to be popular for me to say because he is the number one popular entertainer now. But I was so proud when Bad Bunny said that he would not ever perform again in America as long as this administration was in power. And along comes the Super Bowl, and guess what? He is right here in America performing at the biggest sporting event that we have. So I was like, okay, now what changed your mind? Because it couldn't have been the money. Because when you get to the status of a Bad Bunny, money is not an issue. Okay, counting it is. Okay, keeping up with it. All right, that's the issue, because it becomes that plentiful in the music and entertainment industry. But what changed his mind? It was such a beautiful, unifying. He said he would only perform in Puerto Rico. And I can't tell you how many African Americans I knew that went to Puerto Rico to see him perform out of support for, oh, this is beautiful. But then we look up and he's dominating the Super Bowl. So it's not just a black issue, okay? Because I said, oh yeah, he's going to really, I mean, what the immigration, black folks ain't being deported, okay? Some of us would love to be returned to Ghana, or Nigeria. Me, I wouldn't mind Tanzania, okay? I still like the Ushma villages, all right? But no, you're absolutely correct. It's not just, and I guess some of them feel that it's not their responsibility. The politicians aren't doing it. The preachers aren't doing it. So why should I jeopardize and run the risk I might upset someone? And then this culture that social media has developed that I think are the majority of those, the kill culture, I guess they're called, or some of them are what we used to call in my day of activism, provocateurs. Okay, they're not really just people on social media expressing their opinions. Okay, they're being paid to disrupt and destroy. They're being paid to do that, and we go right along with it. But yeah, I've been very disappointed. I've stopped watching award shows, to be very honest with you, because I'm tired of hearing them up there thanking people I ain't never heard of, don't know who their names are anyway, okay? And not one of them saying anything about immigration, not one of them saying anything about who in the world is going to pick the crops. Okay, all right, we are going to be very shortly faced with a massive food crisis. Okay, the black farmers are losing. They were promised this money, didn't get it, and they are up for foreclosure like an alarming rate. Where are our survival needs? Where are they going to come from? And nobody is saying a word. So yes, I totally agree with you that they're letting us down. I mean, Jane Fonda used to go to jail as frequently as Dick Gregory. Now, I don't hold her responsible because girlfriend's almost 100 years old. Okay.
And
still looking good.
And those entertainers can't say they don't know because we cover that black farmer stuff here more than anybody else. Yolanda, what is your question?
Yeah, I just want to first say, Ms. Hughes, thank you so much for having the courage to do what needed to be done and understanding that agitation was important to the vitality of black people. Now, I'm not certain which question I want you to answer, but there are two. The first one is you've spent a career proving that black-owned media can shape public opinion and build power. Today, with algorithms, streaming platforms, and billion-dollar tech companies controlling what people see and hear, are we losing the ability to tell our own stories? And if we are, how do we take that power back? That's the first question. The second question is, you often say information is power, If you had to grade Black media today on whether it's informing our community versus entertaining our community, what grade would you give us and why?
It would depend on whether, the second question, whether or not it is Black programmed or Black owned. There's a big difference.
Black targeted and
All right.
Black owned is a difference.
Exactly. Black targeted, Black owned. All right. Black
owned.
The reason you and I are right here, I would give, because of the Roland Martins, because of the individuals that are coming forth now, I would give us A- only because we have so much more growth potential ahead of us, okay? But an A. Now, the first question, can you make a shorter version of it for me? Because I'm long-winded by nature, okay? Give me the condensed version.
So the condensed version is, are we losing our ability to tell our own stories with the way media is now? And if we are, how do...
No, a resounding no, because we have the tradition of the griot. Okay, as long as we can talk, we have the ability to tell our story. With technology, we now have the ability, new ways to get it out there. And I don't think that's anything that we're ever going to lose. We are a culture that is a lot more responsive to verbal messaging. Unfortunately, my generation, there used to be a saying that was horrible to say, but it used to be, if you wanted to keep a secret, put it in a book. If you wanted to hide something from Black folks. Well, that is changing, but we're always going to be discussing. The problem that I'm concerned about is the accuracy of what we are receiving. And how do we distinguish that which is a paid political announcement or just the plain, unadulterated truth? Because one of the things that has been mastered by those in charge is, and it's so true, is what radio does. Radio programs your subconscious. It's repetition. And if you repeat it, and all of us have experienced singing a song that when we heard it the first few times, we hated it. Oh, that's horrible. Why would he release that? And then all of a sudden you find yourself humming it or singing it because of this element of repetition. So when you take this incorrect information and you repeat it enough times, even the person repeating it starts to believe it because their ears hear it first before other ears hear it. That's the danger. But we will always have our griots. We will always have our Roland Martins. We will always have those individuals that come hell or high water are not going to be stopped telling the truth, getting the information out there. And I'm really encouraged with the number of young people now who really have basically kind of gone a whole different route in terms of political realities and are coming up with new strategies and new directions to do things. I think we're going to go through some very challenging times, but I think that we don't have to recapture our voice. Yep. I think that we're just going to have to take the mute button off of it because it's still there.
Two final quick questions, and that is first, where do you hope Urban One is in 20 years? Two, 50 years
still
from
alive. That's an easy one.
50 years
still
from
here. Whether I'm here or not, I certainly pray that the company still is and still unapologetically in the Black people business.
All right, last question. 50 years from now, 100 years from now, a little girl, little boy comes across the name Cathy Hughes. They're reading and they see this, they're online, they see a video. What's that one thing you want them to know about you?
That I love my people and I was willing to take whatever knocks, bruises, penalties, punishment in order to make certain that they were okay. I did not mind being the sacrifice if it was going to give them opportunity.
Well, I'm going to close out with this, and I say this to my man, Jonathan Rogers, who I first met in 1990. What year guy would I meet him? No, not 99. I'm sorry. I was on the board of NABJ in 1989. And a lot of people, when they introduce me, when I give speeches, they talk about being on CNN. Then they say, oh, he left mainstream and went to black-owned media. I said, no. I remind them, no. Before CNN paid me a cent, actually, the first check that I got that gave my opinion on television was actually on TV One. We had these interstitials, commentaries that ran, Roland Martin, this is my perspective, what's yours? And so I remind people all the time that no, it was a black-owned company that paid me before CNN. And then when I went to CNN, they wanted me to leave TV One, and I said no. They wanted me to leave WVON Radio, and I said no. And then later they wanted me to leave Tom Joyner Morning Show. I said no. And I tell people all the time, we don't have to leave black-owned media. If mainstream media hires us, we can actually do both because their ice is not colder.
Amen to that. I love you, Roland Martin.
Cathy Hughes, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. It's always great to see you. People shower you with love and affection, and it was great to see all the folks with the key to the city and the fabulous time I had there. And so I shall see you soon sometime on the dance floor.
Thank you. God bless.
Thanks a bunch. You know what? I was going to go to a break. Let's go right into it, y'all. And that is my next guest has been holding, and that is to talk about South Carolina. Let's talk about South Carolina. Democrats, of course, when Joe Biden ran in 2020, also in 2024, South Carolina, of course, primary was first. Well, Democrats are meeting this week, and a lot of people want that first. Iowa wants it. New Hampshire wants it. Nevada wants it. A lot of Latino leaders are pushing hard for Nevada to be in the first slot. I still fundamentally believe, and I don't care what anyone says, that South Carolina should stay first. Black folks are the backbone of this party, and South Carolina should remain first. Joining us right now is the chair of the Democratic Party in South Carolina, Christelle Spain. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Roland. How are you?
Doing great. This week, you're throwing lots of elbows. You're doing lots of blocking, pushing, because everybody is coming after your slot of being first in the nation.
Absolutely. Everybody wants to be first, Roland, but we're first. And we maintain that, and we made the case back in May when we presented to the Rules and Bylaws Committee about why South Carolina should remain first in the nation. We only had this spot one time, which was in 2024, where we had a contested primary, but it was not competitive. And I went on to say that when South Carolina goes first, Roland, the Deep South goes first. Black voters go first. And as you already laid out, Black voters are the backbone of this party. And so we should continue to elevate Black voters' role in the process, not push it further back.
And so you have all these different people saying, well, and we really heard this in 2020 from a lot of Senator Bernie Sanders supporters, and I was cussing a lot of those folks out online. They was, oh, wait a minute, well, we don't have a shot at winning South Carolina in the general election, so they shouldn't go first. We should be going to places where you have a much more diversity that's being dominated by African Americans. All sorts of rationale being given as to why not South Carolina. What do you say to those critics?
I say the Democratic primaries are not about the general election. So to say that because South Carolina isn't as competitive in November, the Democrats here don't matter, that's crazy. If we're trying to set our candidates up for success and battle test them for November, they need to start in a state like South Carolina, where we, number one, have an open primary, where they can come in and test their message. What do Democrats gain from hanging out in a blue state, talking to people that agree with them all the time? They need to come to the Deep South. They need to come to South Carolina and do these retail politics, because you cannot phone it in the South, in the Deep South. When you come to South Carolina, you've got to do the same type of retail politicking that you do in Iowa and New Hampshire. You got to go sit with the Black church. You've got to go sit in these small communities, in these small, these American Legions, these all the places that we go and campaign, in the barbershops and the beauty salons. Like, that's how you communicate with voters in the Deep South and in South Carolina. And we are just as important as the blue states, as the battleground states, we prepare candidates, we test them, and we get them ready. So if the early window, if our calendar is about setting our candidates up for success, then South Carolina absolutely should remain in the early window and should absolutely remain first.
Well, I think also what this does is, and this is the mistake that people make when they're looking at this here. I also look at the issues that are raised, and the reality is this here: the biggest failure of the National Democratic Party has been the abandonment of the South. Listen, Georgia is what it is because it was Stacey Abrams, it was Raphael Warnock, it was others who literally worked, tilled that soil for 8 years. And what they did in 2012 culminated in 2020 and Biden Harris winning that state and electing 2 Democratic senators in Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff. Warnock gets reelected. Ossoff, strong. A lot of Republicans wouldn't even run against him. So you might have 2 Democratic senators from there again. You've got Roy Cooper, former governor, running for the United States Senate in North Carolina. If you ignore the places, a poll just came out showing the governor's race and the U.S. Senate race in Florida as well. Well, if you ignore Florida, if you ignore and you don't invest in Mississippi, you don't invest in Alabama or Tennessee or South Carolina or North Carolina or Arkansas, I'll add Texas, Louisiana, yeah, you're going to keep losing.
Yep. Yeah, and we just tested that blue wall theory in 2024, and it didn't hold. It failed.
Right. So the whole deal was like, oh no, if we win, everything was about Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania.
Yep. Yeah, overlooked a lot of places, and we lost miserably. And we're going to continue to lose miserably. And as I'm a big Democrat, I love my party. I'm going to fight for it. I'm a proud Democrat. But if we want to change the state of things in this country, Democrats have to start winning in the Deep South. Period, point blank. That's where the population growth is. South Carolina is the fastest growing state in the nation. Okay? So if we're talking about going to where voters are in the Deep South. Voters are in South Carolina. So why would we change our calendar and go to where the voters are not and then say that we're worrying about engaging our voters? We're worried about meeting voters where they are. Well, the voters are in the Deep South, and they're absolutely in South Carolina.
Well, not only that, it is projected, and I have been talking about this for a very, very long time, and I hate showing anything. Matter of fact, I don't even want to show this because it's Fox News. I don't want to show them. This is from the Brennan Center for Justice. Big changes ahead for voting maps after next census. New population estimates from the Census Bureau suggest sharp gains and losses that could reshape the country's politics after 2030. The maps don't lie. It shows that it says right here, Florida and Texas couldn't get 4 seats. North Carolina could add a seat. California will lose. New York State will lose. It says that blue states will lose about 12 seats. Those are moving south. So if you Democrats, you don't wait to 2030, you better be hitting the ground going hard in the South now, because if you lose those 12, that means you're going to have to win Arizona, Nevada, or you're going to have to win North Carolina, Georgia, in order for you to have 270 to win the White House.
Yeah, the map is changing right underneath our feet. And we know it, we feel it, we see it. So the big strategy change is to invest in the South, invest in the Deep South. And the first thing that the DNC can do to prove that we're doing that is to keep South Carolina first in the nation. Lead out by talking to Black voters. Make sure that our candidates have to come and talk to Black voters, to rural voters. Like you talked about Black farmers. South Carolina is a rural state. We've got farmers all across this state. South Carolina, we've got, I don't even know how many institutions of higher learning. Like we've got students, we've got veterans. You get it all when you come into South Carolina, and you don't have to be a billionaire to compete here. So it's just so many pieces to this puzzle that absolutely makes sense for South Carolina. And I also made the case too, Roland, during our presentation. Like, we ever want to see another Jimmy Carter, another Barack Obama, another Pete Buttigieg, you have to keep South Carolina in the early window, because that's the only way, another Bernie Sanders, that's the only way they were able to pick up momentum and build their coffers and build their campaign, because they could afford to compete here.
Before I go to Yolanda, this is what the Brennan Center said. Based upon these estimates, California will lose 4. New York will lose 2. Illinois, Minnesota, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Wisconsin will all see 1-seat decreases. If these estimates come to pass, the South would have a record 164 seats in the House next decade. After the 1960 reapportionment, the South, Midwest, and Northeast each had roughly the same number of representatives, but with the country's steady population shift southward in the years since, nearly 4 in 10 members of the House could well be Southerners by next decade. Yeah, they had better be waking up, paying attention. It ain't about the white suburbs. Yolanda.
Look, I'm a black elected official in Texas. I already see what Republicans are doing right now with the numbers that they have. So if they leave us alone, don't invest in us, and especially in the black community, it's going to be worse. And I absolutely agree that the first primary in the Democratic primary should be South Carolina. Because here's the deal. We got these progressive white liberals deciding with the bench who gonna run for what. They literally pick their anointed white person, and then they come on to us and they losing or quitting. So we are going to make sure black people, sort of generally, but South Carolina specifically, you're going to have to come correct. You just are.
Amen.
And I also think if the DNC actually disrespects South Carolina, and I'm from Texas, but disrespects South Carolina, and they are further showing that they really don't care about the black vote. Because as I said at the Texas convention, the road to blue goes through black. Black people gonna make you right. That's just what we gonna do. That is just who we are as a people. But we have too many white progressives, quite frankly, who are afraid to hear constructive criticism, who are afraid to listen to our issues, who are just afraid, and they think that shit that worked a long time ago, where you can talk around us, we ask you hard questions and you don't answer, that's not working anymore. It's not. Say what you want to say about President Obama. We finally had a black person win the presidency, and now we expect for you to come to us. We just do. At one point before him, we picked lesser of evils. We picked the best white person left. We did that. We don't do that no more. You better come to us, and you better come correct. And I want the DNC to hear, at least from this black woman in Texas, which, by the way, they're attacking black women. I support South Carolina being the first primary. And if you do not keep South Carolina there, I think you're going to have a lot of black people are going to leave the Democratic Party, because I never thought that I would live to see the day where black folks ended up leaving the Democratic Party. I was talking to a black person this morning from another state who literally said he felt homeless between the parties. So I knew at least at one point, Roland, for those of us who are like us, that we believed that we're Democrats. We might be mad at the Democrats, but if we go vote, we're going to vote for Democrats. It's not like that anymore. We're a different kind of Negroes right now.
Right.
So the Democratic Party better pay attention, because they about to F-A-F-O.
Ome Congo.
I really appreciate your work and your advocacy. One of the concerns, this kind of goes off of Representative Jones' question/comment. Do you feel like, especially coming off of the 2024 election where Kamala didn't win, that if South Carolina is chosen to not be the primary state, that this will be another slap in the face towards black people that'll make more of us feel alienated from the Democratic Party?
Absolutely. I mean, I hate to say that, but absolutely. What would be the reason? The calendar had been set for decades, where Iowa was first and New Hampshire was second. No problem. And when we want to talk about competitiveness, where Roland brought that up earlier, New Hampshire was a red state for a long time, and they were the first 2 states. Iowa was the caucus. New Hampshire was the first primary. So, that didn't matter then, but all of a sudden it matters now, right? So I do believe that, Black voters will feel disenfranchised if South Carolina's moved out of this first in the nation spot. Because like I said, we have not really had it. We had a sitting president in 2024 where we had this primary that was not competitive. No one's going to recruit candidates against their own president. You have the seat. So we never really got an opportunity to see what this means. What does this mean? What does it mean for our party? More importantly, this calendar, as it stands right now, has not been tested. So there's no real big takeaway from the party to say that, oh, this really works for us or this doesn't work for our candidates. So I just think that it's a no-brainer, in my opinion, to leave the calendar where it is.
All right, then. Christelle Spain, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks a bunch.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, good luck in the fight. First, going to go to a break. We come back. We're going to talk about, we may go live to Dallas for the James Tallarico Town Hall. We'll also discuss the Nolan Wells funeral, which took place today in Mississippi. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Don't forget to support the work that we do. Listen, one of the reasons we're here is because y'all support of us. Listen, we ain't got millionaires and billionaires cutting us checks. It's our small donors and our folks that have been supporting us since we launched almost 8 years ago. You want to contribute via Cash App, use a Stripe QR code. You see it right here on the screen. That QR code is also for credit cards. If you're listening, go to blackstarnetwork.com for ways to give. Check some money order, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037 0196. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo RM Unfiltered, Zelle Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Back in a moment. All right, folks, let me tell you about Chapter. Now, if you're on Medicare or about to be, the system is not set up to work for you. Too much fine print, too many plans, and too many people making money off of your confusion. And look, we're used to this. We're no strangers to systems that don't have our best interests at heart. But we don't have to accept it when it comes to Medicare. That's why I'm telling you about Chapter. Their advisors are independent and honest. In fact, they're the only Medicare advisors that compare every plan nationwide. And they're focused on one thing: what works for you. If there's a better plan out there, they'll find it. If you're already in the right one, they'll tell you that too. There are no games. Just last year, people who switched with Chapter saved an average of $1,100. It's 20 minutes and a real person. It's completely free. My parents actually have already called. My mom sent me a text. Folks, give Chapter a call at 724-264-8281, 724-264-8281, and connect with someone you can trust. Folks, these are the kind of services that we need for our audience here at Roland Martin Unfiltered and the Black Star Network. So call Chapter right now, 724-264-8281.
Hi, I'm Jo Marie Payton, voice.
All right, folks, it was a packed church in Mississippi today for the homegoing service of Nolan Wells, the 18-year-old young black man who was found dead in Mississippi. Hundreds filled in that particular church to say their final goodbyes. Among them, Hall of Famer Terrell Owens, as well as Spike Lee. Wells and a group of friends, of course, went to Horn Island off the coast of Mississippi to celebrate July 4th. His friends returned to the mainland later that afternoon and told police that Wells opted to stay behind, saying he would catch a ride back later with others. When he didn't return home that night, his mother reported him missing around midnight. A U.S. Park ranger found Wells' body on the northwest shore of Horn Island on July 6th. During the emotional service, friends, community members, and his parents remembered the teenager's faith, kindness, and athletic accomplishment. Also during that particular service, Reverend Al Sharpton announced that that the National Action Network was going to give a $50,000 reward for any information leading to the arrest and conviction of individuals involved. This is some of what Wells' parents had to say.
First, I want to give all thanks and honor and glory to God for choosing Elmore and me to be Nolan's parents. We thank you, Lord, for the beautiful 18 years that you blessed us with him. Thank you for the joy he brought not only to our family, but also to his friends and everyone in the community whose lives he touched. Nolan had such a gentle, calming spirit about him. He had a way of making people feel seen, welcome, and valued. He could lift your confidence with just a few words and make you feel like you belonged. If you ever had the privilege of meeting our son Nolan or calling him a friend, then you experienced a glimpse of God's love through him. He was both protective and nurturing. He often told us that one day he wanted to have 3 daughters that he would name Sophia, Charlotte, and Olivia. He had a deep love for the Lord and an unwavering faith that was evident in the way he lived his life. As much as our hearts are broken, we find peace in knowing that our son is resting in the arms of the Lord. We will miss everything about him, from his quiet nature to the corny jokes, his gentle smile, the way he made everyone around him feel comfortable, loved, and at ease. Your absence has left an emptiness that can never truly be filled. A piece of our hearts will always be missing. Nolan, your father and I are incredibly proud of you. We've always been proud of you, of the young man you were, and we will always be proud of the legacy of love, kindness, and faith that you have left behind. In a world that can often feel dark, be like Nolan. Be the light that brightens the lives of those around you. Be the warmth for those who may be feeling the coldness of the world. Love deeply, protect fiercely, and welcome others with kindness. And remain faithful knowing that God is always with you. Lastly, I ask that each of you keep Nolan's memory alive. Hold him close in your hearts. Share his stories and never stop saying his name. As long as we continue to remember him, his light will continue to shine through us all. Nolan, we love you. We'll continue to fight for you. Yes. And until we meet again, and thank you all for coming. Thank you.
I might be kind of all over the place a little, but just from first of all, I want to say out of all my kids, Nolan was the one that would crawl backwards on the regular. Like babies crawl forward, he would crawl backwards. And he had this crazy haircut that I don't know, you had to see it to know him. But I want to start off by saying how proud I am of you, my son. You grew up to be a very young man that everyone enjoyed to be around. The constant lectures from me about having character, self-respect, self-discipline, and perseverance really hit home with you at an early age. These were the things that I had to live through to really be able to pass down to you and your siblings. I remember when you first asked to play basketball, and I admit I was kind of worried because you never picked up a basketball, you never shot one. We didn't have a actual basketball goal. The only thing we had was that Walmart special, the little plastic one that everybody breaks in the first few days. But on that first day of tryouts, you shocked me and your mom. And just to make a long story short, you, Jalen, and Javon won y'all first championship together. Middle school was even more exciting because you were not just making a name for yourself on the football field, the basketball court, and the baseball diamond, but you were also laying the groundwork for your little brother Elmore. I nicknamed you Mr. Cool Hands because it seemed like you was catching a touchdown every game. You wanted to be the best. So I poured all my knowledge into you that I could by taking you to the gym to work out, taking you to the beach to do drills in the sand, teaching you how to watch film, how to study your opponent's strengths and weaknesses. And you carried these teachings all the way through high school and had an amazing run. Also during that time, you made a lot of friends. You helped a lot of people, and you became well liked by many. It really warmed me and your mother's heart when we would get a phone call or an email from a teacher talking about something that you did for a fellow student. All the teachers love Nolan. The day you came home from college, you came in the room and you asked me about training. You would always ask us, or always tell us about things that you want to do for us. When you signed with a school, you want to do this and take me and your mother there. And I would always tell you that, son, you need to take it one day at a time. During this time, you trained, you worked out. The bond with your younger siblings grew stronger because they looked up to you for motivation, especially your younger brother, which played the same position that you did. You guys' competition, Cannon, Nolan loves you, and he wanted you to do just as good as he did. Ethan, the same way. Even though you weren't a receiver, he wanted you to do great things. Carly, Jaden, with you guys being the oldest, he wanted the best for you guys. And I know that he would have did anything he could to make you guys happy. I just want to say thank you all for coming out. Thank you all for coming out and celebrating our son. Nolan meant a lot to a lot of people. And today it just shows us how much he meant to the community, to the country, and to the world. Thank you guys again for coming out. We appreciate it.
We're on a ferocious search for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. And so it is very important that you all understand our legal team. And we have these great co-counsels, but Reverend Al, we're all co-counsels. Anybody who's seeking the truth for what happened to Nolan Wells, I want you all to know that you all are our co-counsels. Amen? Y'all all our co-counsels. And on this legal team, we stand for truth, no matter who it implicates or exonerates. We stand for justice, no matter who it convicts or who it acquits. We stand for transparency because we don't need law enforcement to narrate, because we want transparency because we can see. We don't need them to tell us what they think And that's why we need all of you to encourage people who were on Horn Island on July 4th. If you took a picture, if you have a video, if you have Snapchat, if you have anything, we are pleading on behalf of Elmo and especially on behalf of Christine. As she said, any parent will want the answers as to what happened to their child. They went out on the boat came back, and Nolan washed up on the shore 2 days later dead. When you want answers, when you want transparency, when you want the truth, when you want justice, I mean, is that so much to ask?
Since Mississippi's so special, I'm not only saying we don't want nothing, I want to say right here now, and I'm inspired by who accused us of that I want to put up from National Action Network and me, I want to offer a reward of $50,000 to anybody I want to put a reward up for $50,000 for anybody that could give the information that will lead to an arrest and a conviction in the case of what happened. He was not on that island by himself. Somebody saw something and knows something. So I didn't come to make money, I came to give money. Stand up and tell the truth. Whatever it is, good or bad, we're not going to prejudge it, but we cannot end it until we know all the facts. I just got a text, Christine and Elma, you know that Tyler Perry said he would pay for the funeral. He must be watching. Because he said, I'm going to match you and put up $50,000 more. So we putting up $100,000 for anybody that'll come forward. We just want the truth, that's all. We just want the truth. And we want to thank Tyler Perry. He must have been watching. We want to thank Colin Kaepernick, who paid for Colin Kaepernick, a real giant in our community that shouldn't be disrespected by anybody.
It certainly was quite emotional. I was texting Tyler Perry. I actually talked to him a little bit earlier, and he had definitely confirmed that $50,000 or $100,000 reward that will go to, if someone is arrested and convicted. One of my panel right now, Ome Congo, it's unfortunate that we have to return to these places, these stories, and it's not just Nolan Wells or other stories that we've been covering as well, but families are still demanding answers to the death of their loved one.
Yeah, these are always hard to watch the mothers, and then obviously, watching the fathers as well. And, definitely shout out to Tyler Perry and Colin Kaepernick and, been stepping up in this moment. It's Roland, as you've been sounding the alarm right now, and other people have as well, we are in a crisis right now as it relates to what's happening to our children. They are ending up missing. They're ending up being hung. They're ending up drowning. They are, and we don't have a Justice Department that's going to follow these cases. We're out on our own on so many levels. And I am not speaking right now to Nolan Wells, but there are things happening to our children right now that I believe many of them are the result of racist people who are hunting us. We can add some of these police cases to them as well. And we are on our own as it relates to searching for justice. And I'm thinking of Ida B. Wells, and, in this particular moment right now. Parents are scared just scared in so many ways. The conversations that I'm having, with other parents and the like. And so I'm doing everything possible from a distance to uphold this family. And it's just really important that with no other networks really uplifting this, going back to your conversation with Hughes, in terms of Black spaces, that we continue to uplift and call attention these social media outlets to put out this information, because we deserve to be treated better than this. Our children deserve a better future than this. And in many different instances and ways, it's being robbed, and in many ways without accountability. So we're going to find out what happened to Wells. My heart breaks for him and his family. But we just have to be very mindful in speaking up about this is our kids are not just disappearing on their own. Something more is happening. And we need to keep raising the alarms and make other people accountable to raising that alarm as well, including these officers who don't care to investigate what happens to our kids in places like Mississippi.
Yep, Yolanda?
Yeah, Roland, I'm just going to say, as a mother of a Black man myself, it was very hard to watch his mom talk about her baby, because it doesn't matter how big they get, how old they are, they're her children. So I'm thankful that she was able to find some laughter in her sorrow, because sometimes your kids just do stuff and it makes you smile even in horrific times. So I hope that she and Nolan's father cling on to the good. But let me be clear about what's going on. This is not new, what happened to Nolan. And there were so many Black people that thought we made it. We had a Black president. There is no racism. There is racism, and our children are in danger, and we are in danger. And what I see with Nolan's case, it's almost like the Black people are almost coming together like we were during segregation, when we knew the only people that we could count on was ourselves to save ourselves. And to the people that sent that hate mail to his home, screw you, there's a special place in hell for you. But let me be clear to try to insinuate, because you have to go get a high-powered lawyer and legal team to investigate, because the police in Mississippi won't investigate. And the police in Mississippi are telling a narrative and speculating before they've investigated to protect the white prominent families, almost like the Murdaughs in South Carolina. They're trying to tell a story, and we're not stupid. We're not going for it. I want to thank Tyler Perry. I want to thank Reverend Sharpton for coming up with the $100,000, because I know that whoever was on Horn Island and they have information, they know the system is set up against them. They know it. And anything that we can do to help motivate them to have the courage to do what they need to do to make things right is admirable. And to anybody in the hate mail who says they doing this for publicity, let me be clear. This is what I learned about rich white people. There's only a couple of ways to make them pay attention to you. And one of the ways is to take their money. So they need to be sued. They need to be deposed. And all of their secrets need to come out during the court system. So that needs to happen. And perhaps, although I do not have trust at all in the criminal justice system in Mississippi as an over 30-year criminal defense lawyer, that they are going to do anything about it. So if we can't get them in the criminal justice system, because trust and believe, if them 3 kids had been Black, they'd already be under the jail and they'd already be convicted, that we may not have that justice. And with Trump in office and the Republicans, we're literally not going to have a federal investigation, because they don't care about Black kids coming up missing and murdered. So we need to do what we need to do. We need to go after them financially first. We need to ruin them. Yes, we do, because everybody can see what's going on in Mississippi. And so what I want for us to stop doing as Black people is repeating the narrative of the white people that is just about money. And we need to control the narrative, like we were talking about with Cathy Hughes. We need to tell these family stories. We need to uplift them. We need to embrace them. And we don't just need to do it with Nolan's family. We need to do it as a Black people in racist, anti-Black America. is what we need to do. And every single solitary time we see racism rear its evil, nasty, ugly head, we need to call it out like stink on shit, like a heat-seeking missile. And so I'm thankful that the Black community has embraced the Wells family. I'm thankful that I believe that Ben Crump and his legal team and everyone else, we're going to figure out what happened. And I'm a hope, wish, and pray that they end up getting convicted. But there's a special place in hell for all of them. And they don't deserve any peace and comfort and peace of mind until Nolan's family deserves peace and comfort and a peace of mind.
All right.
And I respectfully submit to you, that's not going to happen because Nolan is gone.
All right. Let me quickly go to a break. I'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. All right, folks, let me tell you about Chapter. Now, if you're on Medicare or about to be, the system is not set up to work for you. Too much fine print, too many plans, and too many people making money off of your confusion. And look, we're used to this. We're no strangers to systems that don't have our best interests at heart. But we don't have to accept it when it comes to Medicare. That's why I'm telling you about Chapter. Their advisors are independent and honest. In fact, they're the only Medicare advisors that compare every plan nationwide. And they're focused on one thing: what works for you. If there's a better plan out there, they'll find it. If you're already in the right one, they'll tell you that too. There are no games. Just last year, people who switched with Chapter saved an average of $1,100. It's 20 minutes and a real person. It's completely free. My parents actually have already called. My mom sent me a text. Folks, give Chapter a call at 724-264-8281, 724-264-8281, and connect with someone you can trust. Folks, these are the kind of services that we need for our audience here at Roland Martin Unfiltered and the Black Star Network. So call Chapter right now, 724-264-8281.
What's up, y'all? This is Wendell Haskins, a.k.a. Win Hogan at the original T-Golf Classic. And you know I watch Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, sorry, I was trying to get that audio straight. So in Dallas, in DeSoto, actually, suburb of Dallas, Representative James Tellerico is about to have a town hall speaking to African Americans there. He had one yesterday in Houston, and so once we get the audio straight, we'll go back to that. Folks, let's talk about, though, Florida. A Florida police officer resigned after newly released body cam footage shows Melbourne police officers violently taking down a misidentified black teenager. On June 24th, Officer William Markle, one of 3 officers who detained 15-year-old Judah Everidge, claimed the teen was resisting arrest. Judah suffered a broken arm because of the incident. Well, the body camera footage tells a different story. Watch.
Get him the tape. Get on the ground, bro. Flip over, bro. I know his mom, I'm sorry. I know his mom, I'm sorry. I know his mom, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, we're gonna break it if you don't fucking stop resisting. Oh, fuck. I got it. Fuck, it's back there. It's there. Oh, fuck. Fuck. Okay. Hang tight. Relax. What's going on with your arm? Give us your other arm. Hold on. Let me get another cuff. Hold on. Look at my arm. Where? Relax. Lay on your chest. Lay on your chest. Can I explain? No, you can't. Lay on your chest. I was just walking. You saw us running. I know I can't explain. I know his mom. You know whose mom? Is that female? I was just in the car with her. I was going to the car with her. You were there. What? Are you Armani? No. You're not Armani? No. I don't know what's going on. I was in the car. Why are you running from us? I'm not running. That guy. You said there's somebody else. I was crossing the street. What's your name? Judah, Armani ran. I saw Armani run. I know his mom. I know Armani's mom. Stand by. We might have one on standing. I know Armani's mom. I was in the car with her. With who? Somebody was talking to her. I was with Armani's mom. I was in the car with her. We're trying to figure that out. Stand by. I was just walking home. She gave me... Where do you live at? I was dog sitting. Do you have ID? No. Why'd you start taking off running, man? I didn't. I was crossing the street. I was trying to cross the street, sir. Ow! You're good, bro. My fucking arm. What's wrong with your arm? I'm looking at you dislocated my arm. Where? I saw my arm dislocate. Oh, fuck. Where? It hurts. Whenever, it was like, I don't know, but that shit hurt. Why are you running? I was just trying to cross the street. I'm sorry, but dude, that nigga got me. What the fuck? I didn't even do nothing. Oh, fuck. You good? No, I can't fully extend my arm. It's definitely popped out of place. Okay, we'll get it. Just hang, I got you. Huh? Would I just fully extend my arm? I'm not. Hold on. I'll get you medical. Just hang tight, all right? Get the fuck out of me. Bro, you literally flipped around. I'm just saying, can I help? Can I help quick? Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want to sit up or do you want to? Yeah, I just want to stand up. Just hang tight. Can I put my shoes on? Yeah, it's fine. Damn. Look.
Cohen, do you got any allergies or any medical problems?
Allergic to, well, like, are you talking like foods?
No, any like medication allergies?
Cephalosporin. Cephalosporin or something like that. I forgot what it's called. Fucking explain myself.
I understand
fucking
you're
dumbass.
upset. Hey, Judah, come on. All right.
Sling out the ground for no fucking reason, dumbass.
Judah later said that he was actually trying to help officers locate 16-year-old Armani Roman, who was described as white Hispanic and wearing dark clothing. Marco submitted his resignation on July 9th, saying it was in his best interest to pursue new career opportunities. He still should be charged, Jolanda.
Oh, absolutely, Roland. I mean, if that wasn't an incompetent police officer, I don't know what was. They were looking for a white kid. That kid was clearly not white. He had the wrong description. He was wearing the wrong clothes. But they decided that a black kid would do. Yep. So my concern is that they let him make it. So he needs to be charged. He abused a child. He assaulted a child. He broke that child's arm. He should be forbidden from working in any more police any more police offices. Yep. At least in Florida. I believe this happened in Florida yeah. Or anywhere, and it should travel with him.
I agree.
And again, we're not going to have the federal government investigate because we can't rely on them to protect us. So we need to watch our kids, and no good deed goes unpunished. Yep. He literally was trying to help his friend. He was trying to help find his friend. He had just talked to the friend's mama, and the police didn't listen. And so our children are under attack, like we talked about before, and not just from their white, racist, jealous friends, but from the police.
Let me go to Congo.
Politically, this is one of the reasons we need to be mindful of George Floyd policing bill that will track officers like this. We need more Democrats who will be voting for that. But back on this, we talked about some of our kids who are going missing and finding out hung and all of these other types of things. We also have to be paying attention to the ones who survived the encounters and are going to have to deal with mental trauma like this as well.
That is absolutely the case. Folks, let me give you an update on the Harriet Tubman Museum. Of course, remember we had the director last week. They had that break-in there where they stole their cash box. They destroyed their door. They also damaged murals there inside and outside as well. So, had them on the show. And one of the two volunteers said, hey, they wanted to. They said, you know what, they probably need about $25,000. I said, no, y'all don't need $25,000. Y'all actually need more than $25,000. And so we said, hey, let's go ahead and raise it to $50,000. Well, in the first 24 hours, we wanted to raise $10,000 in the first 24 hours. And what we then did was we said, hey, we ended up raising $16,000 in the first 24 hours. So I got an email yesterday, and it was at 9:42 a.m. And as of 9:42 a.m., we have raised $63,478 for the Harriet Tubman Museum. $63,470. And again, that was 9:42 a.m. yesterday. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's now at $70,000 or even $75,000. And so so that was that. And so what I'm trying to do is, of course, Linda was in Portugal, singing with the Underground Railroad songs. And so I don't know what the time is in Portugal right now. I sent her a text before we came on the air about an updated number. So we'll have an updated number tomorrow. There also was some, y'all pull their website up. There also were some changes made. And so a very prominent individual went to the website and contributed, but they had a cap of $500. And so I hit Linda. I was like, yo, you need to change that. So they changed that on the website. So that was changed so they can actually get more than $500 worth of donations. And so they're working on also adding on their website, adding, as I suggested, PayPal, Venmo, Zelle, Cash App, for them to be able to take contributions as well. And so just a huge shout out to our fans, folks on the social media who stepped up, who contributed. I also got, I've got, give me 1 second, y'all, because folks hit me up. And Mayor LaJawn Cephas is the mayor of the city of Cambridge. And she sent me a text message thanking me. She said that this museum is the crown jewel of Cambridge. They are hugely supportive of that. In September, there are a number of activities that are going on that'll be taking place around Harriet Tubman in the month of September. And so I asked her, I said, hey, let me know if any of that stuff is being live streamed so we can carry that as well. And so we're trying to get that information. And so hopefully we'll be working with the folks there to live stream that out. But again, our viewers, the people who follow us, people on our social media, y'all did the doggone thing. Again, contributing more than $63,000, exceeding the goal that we set of $50,000 to repair the door, repair the murals, and install a security system so they can get up and running. And so Linda, she told me, 1 second, sorry, Linda just hit me back. So as of 8 p.m., the new number is $68,328. $68,328. She just hit me just 1 minute ago. So let's see, y'all, if we can get that to $75,000. That'll be, remember that she won 25. That'll give them a cushion to be able to do some things. So let's see if we can raise another $7,000 and get that to $75,000. Please, of course, y'all share on all of your social media. Please share your social media and tell them when they see the donate button, pull the website up again. And when you go to the website, thank you very much. When you go there, Harriet Tubman Museum Center.org /donate. And then when you see that button, you see that segment of the website where it says donate in the name of, just put hashtag Roland Martin Unfiltered. That way we're able to track how much the donations came in. So again, absolutely great job there. So we appreciate everybody who got involved. And again, this is what I was saying with Cathy Hughes. This is what community is about. This is how our community, listen, we're not waiting on the federal government. We're not waiting on the state government. We're not waiting on any of these other places. We're simply put the word out there, and people stepped up. And so we certainly appreciate that as well. So yesterday in Houston, this is the last story we're doing, Texas State Representative James Tallarico is running for the United States Senate on the Democratic side against Republican, MAGA, crazy, deranged, corrupt Ken Paxton. Held a town hall meeting in Houston with Black Houstonians. Right now, this is a live shot of DeSoto, Texas, a suburb of Dallas, where they're waiting for him to come and speak there as well. They are at Disciple Central Community Church there in DeSoto. We have a live stream up on Black Star Networks. You go to our YouTube channel. And so what's going to happen is as soon as we leave here, so what we're going to do is we're going to send everybody who's watching this show over to that stream for you to catch that. This is important. I saw a YouTube, it was actually an Instagram feed was up that just stay on this here, but the YouTube I saw, Jolanda, where it says at this point, Tallarico is polling 67+% among African Americans, which is actually higher at this point than Congressman Colin Allred, who's African American, and Beto O'Rourke were in the two previous U.S. Senate races. The reality is that Tallarico needs a huge black turnout. He's going to need a huge Latino turnout for white progressives as well. Texas is, Republicans win control of all statewide offices. People make the mistake, I dare say, when they say that Texas is a red state. I say, no, Texas is an unorganized and mobilized state. And so a lot of work has to be done to drive the black vote, and that means having a very aggressive strategy, an on-the-ground strategy to do so.
Well, yes, it appears from this live feed that his campaign learned from what it did in Houston, because it had a whole bunch of white people. So the optics look better. The event yesterday didn't go so well for him in the black community. So I'm hopeful that he will do better today. I'm hopeful that they will spend less time campaigning and more time listening to black people share what issues they have, because, and his supporters again are now doing to black women who were at the Houston event, specifically Candace Weber and myself, what they did to Congresswoman Crockett, which is when we ask questions to find out what his issues are with the black community, they take it as an act of treason. And then they start trolling you and saying negative things about you. So I'm hopeful that he will keep his supporters in check and stop them from, or rebuke their caricatures of black people when all we're doing is asking questions about what you're doing in the black community. But he's going to need a lot more than 67% of black voters in Texas to get to win in November. Is just what it is. It's more like 85 or 90%. So he's got work to do. Now, the good thing is he maybe could do it if he decides to literally invest in the black community and our infrastructure and our media, like you, because I know that he's bought media with like Channel 13, ABC 13 here, because people tell me they sick of seeing his commercials with no black people in them. But I don't know, Roland, has he bought media buys from you? It's just a question.
No, haven't. We have not had.
Houston, right?
We have not had any media buys from his campaign or any of the other U.S. Senate races happening, whether it's Georgia, North Carolina, Florida, Texas, Mississippi, Ohio, none of those races as well. Ome Congo.
Well, first of all, it's foolish that people have not been buying ad time here. I don't watch a lot of interviews with Tallarico on some of these national networks. I only really watch his interviews when he comes on your show, because you know Texas, obviously, and he knows that you know Texas as well. And, hearing Representative Jones talk about what's happening in Houston, yesterday and the like, is very important for those of us who are tuning into this election and sharing all of our thoughts online, one way or the other, that we actually listen to people who are there. So I'm very interested in this live stream. I'm very interested in seeing what's going to happen. I'm very interested in continually hearing what you and Representative Jones and others who are there have to say, because people can't treat black folks like we're stupid. And people who are there, they are paying attention with a really keen eye and ear to really see what's going to come out of this. And again, this is something that's not going to be on any other network tonight. So this is an opportunity for many of us to really hear what he has to say, addressing our people, black people in a black space, clearly, which apparently didn't happen last night.
Well, you had folks who were there yesterday. You had a number of things happening. Bottom line is this here. And I've said this here for numerous candidates, not just non-blacks. I've said this to black candidates. You cannot assume black people are going to vote for you. You have to have a ground game. You got to invest in black-owned media. You can't just assume folk are going to show up. You ain't going to win. And I said this directly to Colin Allred when he ran for the United States Senate. His campaign was horrible when it comes to black outreach. And so being black ain't enough. And so that's literally what has to happen. And so needs to see more of this. Let's see who this brother is speaking right now.
Talking to James, and I'm going to do my little part and get out the way and pray because I know y'all came here tonight. I do want to thank James Tallarico's team. Can y'all give it up for his team? They do this every day, traveling on and off, came from Houston. So y'all can do better than that because it takes a lot. And Ceci is smiling, but she tired, y'all. She tired. And so we thank God for her. She is the greatest cheerleader in the world, and so we thank God for you, Ceci. Tonight, though, I want you to know how this came about being here. Number one, I want to thank everybody in Dallas County because you've helped Disciple Central Community Church be, most of the time, the #1 voting location in Dallas County. Y'all got to give it up for yourself because we just host. Y'all the ones do the most. And that's one of the reasons why we have this here, because of you, because you've helped bring the light and shine the light on DeSoto and all the areas here in Southern Dallas County. Second thing I want to say is I have rules for what we use our church for, not just us, but our church does. And one of the things is if we're going to do something, we're going to do it right. And if we're going to do something, James and I have been talking actually since about October. And I want to let you know, this brother is the real deal. All right? I ain't just saying that because it's blood bank. I'm in the house of the Lord. All right? I ain't got time to be lying to you. I believe in him. And here's the other thing I want you to know, what Ceci just said, because I just spoke with him before we came in. One of my rules was, I said, James, you can't come to this city and our city is not reflected in that sanctuary. And I want you to look around because this is what DeSoto, this is what Southern Dallas County looks. Can you give a hand for that? I want to say that. That's a rule. All right? It's just what it is. It is what it is. Second thing is you can't come to this town and then just speak to the people and the people don't get to ask questions to you. And so here's what we've committed to do. We committed that we're going to stay here, and I told him you can use this church until you get tired tonight answering questions. Because you came here to ask questions, didn't you? So he says right before this, hey, we're going to do that. So I want you to know this is not just some powwow rally. The brother is going to be asking your questions. Make sure you come with good questions. Now, here's the other thing. I want to make sure we are respectful in this place tonight. The reason is we do weddings in this place and we do funerals. We believe your healing can take place. We'll get you out of here. We're going to pray for you on the way out. We got to pray for, but we're going to be respectful. Everybody look at somebody and say, be respectful. I know you can get frustrated, all that good stuff, but make sure that you're respectful because it takes a lot to do this, and we know you got a lot to say, but we got a long time before we get to November. It's short, but it's long. So if you don't get your question answered tonight, guess what? You still can contact the team. You still got time to November. Somebody say amen. All right. Now, I do want to just thank everybody again. I want to pray. And then everybody, if you would, grab hands with somebody today and make sure that... Folks, that is Marcus King, senior pastor of the church there. And they do a fantastic job in Dallas County of really encouraging folk when it comes to voting in that southern sector there. You got Friendship West Baptist Church with Reverend Dr. Frederick D. Haynes III, who will be, of course, going to Congress, replacing Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. I mean, you've got a multitude of churches, Concord Baptist Church there as well, my alpha brother Brian Carter, and so many others who do a great job there. So here's the deal, y'all. We have the live stream going, so y'all can actually check out, see what Tellerico says. Also, the questions that people are going to be posing as well. So we appreciate that. Thelma Anderson was supposed to be on the show. She's actually in the audience, and so she'll give us
a rundown of what took place. Let me thank Jolanda. Let me thank Ome Congo being on today's show. I certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Folks, don't forget, support our work here. Listen, what we do here is for our people. We center us. I could easily, and I'm telling you right now, I was seeing this story. They were talking about progressive shows or shows on the left. Well, let me be real clear. And they were talking about all these different shows, and I made this clear. We're not a left show. We're not a right show. We're not a progressive show. We're not a conservative show. We're not a Democrat show. We're not a Republican show. We black. With a period. That's who we center. That's what we focus on. It's very easy. And again, and also, I don't focus on bullshit. You ain't gonna see no gossip. You ain't gonna see no reality shows. I don't give a shit about who won between Drake or some other rapper. I don't care. I don't care about none of that. I don't care about no Housewives show. I don't give a damn. Hey, guess what? If y'all want to talk about the Jay-Z concert at Yankee Stadium, knock yourself out, go somewhere else. If y'all want to talk about, who's dating who got pregnant, who's getting married, go somewhere else. We are focused on news and information. That's what we do. And I know we sacrificing. I could easily, I look at the numbers. Oh, we could easily have hundreds of thousands. We could have, 20, 30,000 people tuning in live. If I was talking about some other stuff, that ain't what we do. We center black folks. We center our issues, our people, and that's what we do. That's what we always gonna do. And so your support is critical for us in doing that. So please support us. Cash App, join our Bring the Funk fan club. Our goal is simple: get 20,000 people contributing on average $50 each a year. That's $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day to support all of our shows on the network. That raises $1 million to offset our costs, which are $195,000 per month, y'all. All this stuff is real. The studio, the live streaming equipment. Y'all need to understand, you may have Wi-Fi internet at your house right now. Guess what? The fiber that we use costs us almost $2,500 a month. It costs us $30,000, just the internet that we use to ensure the type of signal that you get. That's just alone. The app, the Black Star Network app, that's $125,000 by itself. Associated Press for live feeds and stuff like that, that's $175,000 by itself. Live View, when we're out there live and we got our equipment, we got 3 Live Views. It's the top of the line. We have 2 Live View 800s and a Live View 900. That's top of the line. It's the same streaming equipment ABC, NBC, CBS got. Y'all, guess what? That cost us upwards of $200,000 every single year. So I just outlined for you right there 4 different things where the cost approaches $750,000. We ain't even got the staff and travel. And so to do this work, it's real. And the costs are real. So your support is absolutely critically important. Cash App, use a Stripe QR code. That's for credit cards as well. If you're listening, go to blackstarnetwork.com for ways to give. Checks and money order, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Samsung Smart TV. You want to get our Roland Martin Unfiltered, Black Star Network swag, just simply go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. You also get our American 250 shirts. We got some fantastic shirts with quotes of Paul Robeson, James Baldwin, Bob Moses, Harry Belafonte, and others. And so, yes, I'm adding some quotes from some sisters. We're working on that as we speak. Mugs, hats, T-shirts, all that good stuff you got there. Also, all the products that you see right here in our studio, every single one of these products is a Black-owned company. And so we have all of these companies that are on our website, fantastic products. When you buy from shopblackstarnetwork.com, you buy from them. we also get a piece of that. So this supports this show as well. I told y'all the costs are real for the work that we do. And so that's why we do what we do. Again, go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. The app fan base, download the app there. Follow me at Roland S. Martin. And also, if y'all on YouTube, y'all should be hitting the doggone like button. Y'all be messing around, commenting all day, but y'all don't hit that like button. How many likes we got? Okay? We should easily be at 1,500, so y'all should hurry up. And don't forget, go to HarrietTubmanMuseumCenter.org. HarrietTubmanMuseumCenter.org /donate. Let's hit 75,000, okay? And then to really position them and set them up. So go to HarrietTubmanMuseumCenter.org /donate. All right. Also, I'm rocking interdenominational center. You see me right here. This is, of course, the Interdenominational Theological Center on the campus of Morehouse. It is right there in Atlanta. This was their 60th anniversary shirt in 2018 they gave me. So that was 7 years ago. So I want to give them a shout out, rocking their shirt today on Roland Martin Unfiltered. All right, y'all. Tune in tomorrow. You'll see who I'm wearing tomorrow. Maybe it's Norfolk State tomorrow. I don't know. Norfolk State, could be Howard. We'll figure it out. But there are some schools. So you know what? Let me go ahead and say this right now. I'm trying to think. So University of Virginia Lynchburg, y'all need to send me some gear. I ran one of y'all board members. I gave the commencement there so I can rock it on the shirt. I need to send Rosalind Artist a text. Benedict, I need some of their gear so I can rock on the shirt. Y'all know I only rock gear of HBCUs that I have been to, done shows from there, spoken there, done commencements, and so that's what I do. And also, we didn't mention it today, William Lomax, my frat brother, is stepping down, retiring as head of the United Negro College Fund. We'll be having him on the show talking about that as well. So, and Prairie View and Texas Southern University, y'all need to send me some gear as well. Y'all hometown, what up? So again, if you have not seen me in your HBCU, either they didn't send some gear or y'all ain't invited, brother. I'm only gonna wear gear that I get invited to. All right, y'all, that's it. I'll see y'all tomorrow right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.